My child, trust this, God's purpose always brings us home.
We got your basketball career started right around 4. Sleeping with the basketball. I mean, of course, like we mentioned, the Gervin last name, you've already got brothers that are playing. MLK High School. This is where that legacy starts. And you also mentioned another league you had in Detroit that you joined. Where does that legacy go? Where does it start at? Is it in MLK or is it in the Power League?
My legacy started as a 9-year-old playing in the Police Athletic League in Detroit. I was at a gym one day. We have Finney High School in Detroit. I was at a gym right next door called Cannon. And at Cannon, I was 9 years old, and they had a coach down there on the other end of the floor by the name of Leonard Dillon. And Leonard started watching. He couldn't even hardly focus on his practice. He started watching me on the other end of the court. And so he came down and he talked to me. And he said, "Say, young man, what's your name?" And I told him, "My name is Derrick Gervin." He said, "Gervin? You George Gervin's brother?" I said, "Yes, but I'm also Booker Gervin's brother and Claude, and I named my family." And he was like, "Well, I'm a basketball coach in the Police Athletic League, and I want you on my team. I want you to come and play for me." I said, "Well, that would be something I would think about, right?" So a few days later, I come back to the gym. He's there again. And so now I'm like, well, I've watched him and I've seen how he was with his team. I said, yes, I want to play for this guy. I said, but there's one thing you have to do, sir. You have to come to my house. And I've already asked my mom if you could come. And you're going to have to come and talk to my mom and convince her why I should be able to play for your team. So he comes to my mom's house a few days later. He talks to her. And he said, this young man, I've been studying him. And not only does he has the skills to be a fantastic basketball player, but he seems like a good young man. And so, from there, I started playing in the PAL League with him, right? We go play. We had a really good team. There was only one team we couldn't beat. And that team was led by a guy who looked like Karl Malone in high school. His name was Dwayne Rogers. And so we could not beat that team. And so that started motivating me to work even harder, right? Mm-hmm. So as we approach high school, I end up qualifying to go to Cass Technical High School, School of Diana Ross. You had to qualify. You had to have good grades to get in Cass. So I was already proud of that, right? I go to Cass. Who's the first person I see that welcomes me to the school? Dwayne Rogers, my buddy. As a 10-year-old, my competitor, but my friend as a 9 and 10-year-old. So I get to high school. I felt at Cass Tech that I was sticking out like a sore thumb. It was like going to college for me already. It was like going to Harvard, going to Princeton. And I didn't feel like I was ready for that. I really was. When I look back, I really was. But I didn't have people at that time really staying on me, telling me, "Derrick, you're capable of doing great things." My family was all entrenched in their businesses. My youngest sister was working at Ford already. So they weren't home a lot. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have people pushing me. So I decided to leave Cass Tech. One of the worst decisions I made, but I feel I made up for it. I ended up going to Finney High School because it was close in my neighborhood. We had moved out to the suburbs. Finney wasn't the right fit for me. So I ended up transferring to Martin Luther King, the people I was more familiar with, right? My friends that I played with 5 or 6 days a week. And they recruited me kind of like Golden State recruited Kevin Durant. This was on the high school level. So I go to King and I play there. I don't start playing till my junior year because I started messing up. And I want the kids to hear this clearly. I started doing the wrong things in school. My brother got me a new car when I was 16. George bought me a brand new Toyota Corolla when I was 16 years old. I started chasing the young ladies. I'll be honest about it. I started smoking the marijuana. I just started doing things that were not good for my future. Mm-hmm. And it cost me 2 years of high school. So by my junior year, I took it more serious. I went to summer school my sophomore year during the summer, and so I became eligible as a junior. I'm at Martin Luther King. My first year, I averaged about 28 points and 15 rebounds on a really good team. And I had to, kind of give up some of my game to make the rest of my teammates better. I could have been a 35, 40-point guy my first year, but that wasn't important to me. It was having the best team that we could have. So I had to sacrifice. And these were my friends as well. So I also wanted them to have an opportunity to reach what I call the American dream when it comes to basketball. Yeah. So I go on, I make all city. I'm one of the top 5 players in Detroit. I go to my senior year. I mature, get even a little better. I'm working out a lot harder, doing better things with my life. I become all city again, first team, and I become all state, first team all state. And from there, I was getting recruited. Michigan came to visit me at home. And a lot of people, if they're older, they remember Ray Meyer was a coach at DePaul, legendary coach. He sent his son to my house, Joey Myers, to visit me in Detroit. And when Joey Myers came, so right away, there were 2 schools on my radar. There was a University of Michigan, go blue. And there was a DePaul University. At the time, they were number 1 in the country. They had a guy by the name of Mark Aguirre, who went on to have a fantastic NBA career. And so I'm deciding which one am I going to choose, Michigan or DePaul. I didn't listen to anybody else. I said, this is my life now. I'm at the point that I know I have to make the decision that's best for me. Lo and behold, what happens? My brother calls my sister, who's the state representative for the city of the East Side of San Antonio today. George calls her and wants Barbara to move to San Antonio. And so Barbara moves, and that means, of course, her sidekick, which is my mom, she wanted her to come to San Antonio as well. My mom decides it took a while to get her to commit. She said, okay. So as mom is committing, there's a guy named Derrick, her young son, who needed some nurturing at 17, 18, and running wild in the city, had money in my pocket. My brother was a superstar. So I was living the fast life. I'm just telling you, I was living the fast life. I was living the NBA life as a high schooler. And that wasn't good. I was putting the cart before the horse. So my brother called me and wanted me to come to San Antonio. I said, George, are you crazy? I just met a young lady. She looks just like Sade. There's no way I'm moving anywhere. And so I decided to be stubborn. I stayed another month or 2 in Detroit. But as you know, that money starts getting low. I had enough money where I still had enough to get gas for that 24-hour drive and food. So I started saying, man, I better get ready to get out of here. So I didn't even get a chance to tell some of my friends that I was leaving. I kind of uprooted quickly, and I made the transition. I came to San Antonio at the beginning of 1982, and that took me into my college years. The first year, I sat out a year before I entered UTSA, kind of get my life together, kind of slow down. And that was why I was brought down here. I didn't feel like I was ready for college yet. I had a little more maturing to do. And so I took off a year. And during that year, I worked for my sister and my brother-in-law, who also played in the NBA, Robert Bubbles Hawkins. I love you. I miss you. My best friend of all time. So during that year, I started learning how to do interviews. So I said, I'm off a year, I'm working, but I might as well prepare myself for college, right? So I knew I was going to play ball, and I knew I was going to have a successful basketball career. So I said, why not start working now? So Robert took me out by the pool one day, just like I'm out here today. And he took me out by the swimming pool, and he got the cameras, and he started interviewing me like it was a real life interview, like the media was interviewing me. And that got me ready. So by the time I enter UTSA, I'm maturing as a young man, right? Still have my challenges. Still had to get the city out of me, I'll say a little more. Had to get out the season. I had to become a little more seasoned. And as you know, I go on to UTSA. I play as a freshman. Even my freshman year, I was kind of stubborn. The whole year I fought with my coach. I didn't like the style of play that we were playing. He wanted to walk the ball down the floor, and I wanted to run the ball down the floor. And so he wanted all the players to average like 8 points, 9 points. I had never heard that before first. He's going to average 10, you're going to average 11. So our first meeting at UTSA basketball, and this is a true story. First meeting, coach is showing his team from last year on the video. He was coaching up in Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky. Mm-hmm. He shows a video. So the first day I raised my hand. Coach, that's not going to work, sir. I said, first of all, how can you say that someone's going to average 8 points, someone's going to average 9, someone's going to average 10? I said, that's not realistic. Some people aren't even capable of getting 8 points every night. And then you have others that are capable of getting more than 10 points. And I told him, I'm not a 10-point scorer. I didn't give up an opportunity to go to Michigan, go to DePaul, and University of Texas. And I'll get into that a little bit. I didn't pass up those schools and sit down at Red McComb's office so that I could come to UTSA, a new school, and average 10 points a game. I said, I have NBA aspirations. I told you that when I came here. And so we're going to have to make some changes. I'm just being honest. I want to do well here. I want you to do well here, but I'm not going to let you handcuff my career. And so
what made UTSA the choice then? Because you mentioned Texas.
Well,
and I mean, you're passing up the University of Michigan. You're passing up DePaul University at the time, again, Mark Aguirre. You're coming down to Texas. You've got better options. University of Texas, you've got, you could even go OU. Oklahoma is just, not far away. What made UTSA that school and say, you know what, I'm coming here instead of even going to a team like UTEP? Even UTEP was probably bigger at the time than UTSA was.
The Burnt Orange reached out to me, the Texas Longhorns. And so the only visit I ever took was to the Texas Longhorns. They wanted me. They were, that year I came down here, they were number one in the country. Mm. So remember back then, DePaul was number one. Now Texas is number one. They had LaSalle Thompson and they had Mike Wacker. They wanted me. And, they ended up being number one. And then Mike Wacker ended up tearing up his knee. And so they dropped to like 14th nationally. But that was the school I was sold on. If I was going to go to a school, it's going to be a big school. And so I go on a visit to Texas Longhorns. My sister took me on the visit, right? I get there, and I'm walking around, and I'm looking, and I'm going to be honest again. I'm looking at all these ladies walking around, and I'm like, I came down here to mature, right? And so instead of me, like, maybe looking at the ladies that's going to help me out in the books, that wasn't where my mind was. So I still felt I need to mature a little more, right? So I go to a basketball game. Arkansas was a top 20 team at the time. They had a guy named Derrick Walker, who was All-American. Mm-hmm. Derrick Walker was playing for Arkansas. I went and watched them play at the Hemisphere Arena. And people that don't know, the Hemisphere is where the Spurs started, nationally here. Everyone here, they know the Hemisphere Arena. So I go watch the game. I had one of my best friends today, was playing on that first year UTSA basketball. UTSA got beat 71-42 by Arkansas. I'll never forget the score. That's the score. 71-42. I'm sitting in the stands watching my friend suffer. He's a senior. They had another senior by the name of Dennis Mumford who liked to break backboards, but they didn't have the supporting cast. So when I watched them play, I didn't want them to go through that the next year, the year after. So I was sitting there and I told one of my friends, just like this, that's where I'm going to go play. It made sense to me. During the game, I'm thinking about, how can I make this work? My mom could see me play. Wow, I could see George play. And my mom could see both of us play. And this is during that game, this is when I figured it out. I'm going to play UTSA, give my mom an opportunity. She doesn't have to be traveling to Austin. Right? She could see me one day. She can go see George the next day. We could both be in the newspaper together. That just like It was like all of a sudden, it was a no-brainer. UTSA, here I come. So I reached out to UTSA, I believe the next day. And I said, I'm wishing you well the rest of the season. I talked to the coach, and I said, you guys can get ready because I'm getting ready. The word got out to the media. Derrick Gervin has decided he's going to attend the University of Texas, but University of Texas, San Antonio. And that's how my college career began.
Known as the first superstar at UTSA. And that is something that you've carried on. And I know a lot of Roadrunner fans, say, well, the biggest name that they could remember in basketball would be Devin Brown because of the accomplishments that he's had. But you've known, and you have been known as the first superstar, true superstar of UTSA. As far as UTSA goes, do you feel your impact at UTSA has fully been recognized by the school? Because I'm going to throw this back at you here. The very first Hall of Fame class came out, and the first superstar at UTSA wasn't on there. Some people were disappointed by it. Do you think your impact just gets overlooked at UTSA?
You were disappointed about it. But
I
I'm
would admit
gonna
that.
tell you about my impact. When I walked in up today to do this interview, what's the first thing I saw? I saw a gentleman that met us at the gate, right? What shirt did he have on?
UTSA.
Okay. So when you talk about my impact, I went to UTSA and I made it known then. I want to put a school on the map. I don't have to go to Texas. I don't have to go to DePaul. I don't have to go to Michigan. I said, wherever I go, I'm going to be successful, and that school's going to be successful. So I don't worry about what could have been, right? I was my family was more offended that I wasn't on the the first year on the ballot, the first year, right? But I have to also look at these people weren't there. Lisa Campos is there today, the athletic director. Before her, it was Lynn Hickey. They weren't around during my career. So they have to go do their research, right? You have to go into the archives to find out about people like myself. And they did that. So I'm a person who believes better late than never. I started it. What did you just call me? UTSA's first superstar. If you Google UTSA's first superstar today, what comes up? Not Devin Brown. I love Devin. But if you Google it, this person Googles it, that person Googles it, whose name comes up? Derrick Gervin.
Yeah.
And that's something they could never take away from me. There's no human on this earth that could take that away from me. I know in my mind what I accomplished at that school. Devin knows it. All the coaches that have been through there have done their research knows it. I didn't have to get my love at the beginning. I'm a guy that says better late than never. And so I'm proud now to have been acknowledged by the school. As you know, I went in October last year to the UTSA Hall of Fame. My jersey was retired in 2006. That's 19 years. My jersey's already been retired, sir. No one has worn number 30 since I've been there. And then I go to the Hall of Fame last year. My brother's there. I wish my mom could have been there. She wasn't there. There was another former Spur there, Larry Keenan, another guy that's dear to my heart. And my sisters and brothers were there. What more could I ask for? That's why I went there, was to have my legacy. What better legacy to be supported by your family and to be supported by the people that already know that I set the standard at UTSA, but I got to make sure they know it clearly. I couldn't have done it by myself. My teammates deserve the love just as much as I do, because they're the ones that helped me be successful. They the ones that didn't get upset when I was getting all the love from the media, from the fans. At no point did I turn my back on my teammates. At no point did they turn their back on me. And to this day, I still love them and they still love me. That's all I can ask for, my man.
What was the first emotion that came to your mind when you got that phone call that says, Derrick, Welcome to the UTSA Hall of Fame.
First emotion?
Very first
Look
emotion.
up there, Rudy. Up there, there's a lady up there by the name of Geraldine Gervin looking down on her son. That was the first emotion. My mom is proud of me. I'm proud of me, but my mom set the standard. She got me. The man above and my mother are the reason I'm sitting here right now in this chair. Didn't do it by myself. Who paved the way? There's always someone that paves the way for every single one of us. Who paved the way for me? My mom. And here we are today.